Attention Right Mart shoppers, we have a huge Shop Till You Drop Black Friday sale coming up where we'll be slicing and dicing prices on everything. You can expect such unbeatable prices. There's bound to be a how to beat video that tries, and of course fails, to beat our wonderful, wonderful deals. We're talking waffle makers for such a steal, it's to die for. Gaming PCs price matched to plastic Acer laptops and iPhone 17s for 5% off. Thanks, Apple. You shouldn't have. Anyway, it's a can't miss sale. Literally. You're going to participate. So, do you think you're gonna make out like a bandit? Get everything you need? Think it's gonna be a night you'll be totally thankful for? You do? Well, you're wrong. And today on Thanksgiving, I'm gonna tell you why.
This is why Mom doesn't f***ing love you!
I just keep on having all these strange thoughts.
Before you gobble up all the reasons why you won't live to see Cyber Monday, in the spirit of Thanksgiving, I just wanted to let you guys know I'm incredibly thankful for you. Thanks for the support. Thanksgiving. When houses smell delicious, dinners boundless, and people come together to bond over that which they're thankful for. It's also the calm before a very black storm. Reason number 1. You participate in Black Friday. Black Friday comes each year, one day after Thanksgiving, where shoppers everywhere can expect insanely great deals on every type of sellable good imaginable. With such crazy price drops, Black Friday's had its fair share of dangerous, destructive moments. Especially in Plymouth here, named after the car. What did you think I was gonna say? God, this place looks like the Dawn of the Dead mall, except it's not The Walking Dead bearing a hunger for human flesh. It's just entitled douchebag human beings bearing a hunger for stupid shit. Of course, Black Friday is not for everyone. In fact, now that most in-store deals can be found online, Black Friday's popularity has plummeted drastically. Not in Plymouth, Mass, though. No, sir. Black Friday's still thriving down there. But regardless of the side of that fence you stand on this Black Friday in this little Plymouth town, you are embarking on the pilgrimage. And I'm gonna tell you why. When you link up with your unbelievably unlikable friends after a filling Thanksgiving dinner, shopping was not on the agenda. But the world's biggest asshole Evan needs a new iPhone after it broke during a fight when he punched out another world's biggest asshole we'll refer to as not Goodwill Hunting.
What's going on here?
Now look. Things, as you could have guessed, go absolutely South Boston here. And while not Goodwill Hunting is the primary catalyst,
Hey, doors open, everyone!
your unbearable friend group's the catalyst for the catalyst. See, Jessica's father owns Right Mart and, hold on, seems loser Ryan found us somehow. Poor man's Miles Teller here loves Jessica, but she's dating Bobby, who's such a pitching sensation, it's only a matter of time before he becomes a Major League Baseball sensation.
10 or so minutes later.
Whoops, never mind. Leave a like and subscribe if you hate it when that happens. But yeah, Jessica's dad owns Right Mart, so Jessica and your unbelievably unlikable friend group get to bypass the World War Z zombie humans and head inside where good guy Mitch, the Right Mart manager, Sidney Prescott's ex-boyfriend Mark, and good guy Mitch's lovely wife Kathleen are mentally preparing for the opening of the store. And I suppose since Thanksgiving is over now, you unbearable pilgrims no longer feel the need to be thankful for situations like this, because instead of getting what you need and leaving, some of you feel compelled to rub your fast passes in to the frantic, impatient animals outside. It's the tipping point that leads to the inciting incident, which sees Tim Dillon running for the hills, and unfortunately, the lovable Adderall-supplying security officer Doug, a few customers, and Mitch's lovely wife Kathleen dead. This is reason number 1. Yes, but you don't die just yet. Don't worry. This is more one of those reasons why your end is near type of reason, so, I don't know, might want to call people and say your goodbyes or something while you're still breathing.
1 year later.
Hank Morton of Exposition News lets us know a lot of the townsfolk in Plymouth aren't thrilled Right Mart has decided to run it back and give Black Friday another go this year. More enraged than anyone, though, seems to be Mad Guy Mitch, the now former Right Mart manager. He's the most enraged publicly, at least, cause somewhere here in Plymouth is a Black Friday riots obsessive bat cave. Whoever the Batman is in here is paying attention to all forms of coverage related to that awful night, including Jessica's dad's piss-poor efforts in trying to save face. Even the YouTube content about the tragedy, especially biggest Evans' tone-deaf video he cut up from iPhone footage he shot while surrounded by death and injury. What a stupid dick. It's also through exposition news we learn once star athlete Bobby's path to the major leagues was avalanched after sustaining that brutal hand injury. He ghosted the world after that night. More importantly, Jessica, who was forced to find a new man, not loser Ryan. While better version Miles Teller gets to know her unbelievably unlikable friends more, Jessica glances out the window to find some dude in a John Carver pilgrim mask Michael Myersing her from across the street. We get the sense he's the obsessed Batcave dungeon dude. But who's John Carver? Simply put, Carver was the first governor of Plymouth Colony, and Plymouth, Mass is, for whatever reason, obsessed with the dude. They've even made plastic masks of his face to hand out to every local free of charge. Masks that would make for perfect face concealment should a psycho killer decide to start up a killing spree. And speaking of psycho killers, it's worth noting that minutes before Jessica's Lori Meyer staring contest moment, she spotted Bobby exiting the diner from the back. The same Bobby who vanished last year and hasn't been seen since, up till now, right before that daunting weirdo John Carver exchange. What's more unsettling than that though, and Addison Rae being in this movie, is what we discover at John Carver's house, which is where Jessica's dad was going to shoot a Right Mart commercial. A budgeted plan now axed thanks to someone vandalizing the property and stealing John Carver's favorite axe weapon. Armed and ready, this John Carver's now ready to strike. First on his to-go order is Liz, one of, if not the, most selfish Black Friday shopper at last year's massacre. And she also happened to be the one responsible for Kathleen's untimely goodbye. Unintentional or not, Liz, or someone far less guilty of being a scumbag, you have to understand that life is chock full of consequences, deserved or not. Consequences not always handed out by a jury of your peers. Ever hear the phrase, "Only God can judge me"? Well, sometimes that God happens to be a masked psycho with a God complex. And this psycho killer God? He's sharp as a knife, always looks you in the eyes, the kind of guy who leaves the ladies breathless. You can count on him to stick to plans. And unfortunately for those he deems worthy of placing on his list, the man's got great drive.
Fender bender.
It doesn't take long for her half-body to be discovered because John Carver somehow plopped her high in the air on the Right Mart sign like a star on a Christmas tree. Reason number 2. You've been insta-tagged for death. Prior to Lizzie's dumpster problem, you and your unbelievably unlikable friend group were getting tagged in Instagram reels that pulled clips from Evan's Black Friday video. Weird, annoying, slightly ominous? Sure. You guys were even tagged in some photos of a Thanksgiving dinner table, but those just came off spammy. But now that you guys are also being tagged in Psycho God Complex victim photos taken by the killer, the threat level's getting real.
Mad real.
You poor SAT scorers aren't just tagged in the posts. You're literally tagged in the photos themselves, at the dinner table, each with your very own designated seat. Tell them, Jessica.
These seats are for us. Our names are at the table.
Oh my god!
Yep, there's Chuck Wagon Light, Polar Jeff 29, Brit Brat. We can't look through all 82,000 designated seats, but you guys get the point. John Carver's got a bone to pick with, and off you.
Alright.
If I was some of you guys, I'd be pretty livid right now. 1. Black Friday's not your thing, but you'll last second get dragged to Right Mart minutes from the kickoff. 2. You're not obnoxious like some people, but found guilty by association. And in this case, the sentence is getting kumbaya'd. While hitting the school parking lot, Jessica nearly gets hit by this creepy older dude named McCarty, who's doing what McCarty does best, soliciting firearms to students at various high schools. You know, for protection. You and your unbearably unlikable friend group hit the police station to discuss the fact that you've been tagged in more ways than one. Sheriff Detective Kincaid Newland asks Jessica for help in identifying as many people as possible who were at Right Mart the night of the riot, because their lives could be in grave danger. Oh no! Quick, we need to save these people ASAP! Currently, all they have to pull faces from is Evan's poor taste video because, allegedly, the security cameras were not working the night of the riot. She gives this look like, yes, I know something. And if you've been following this channel for a while, you, like me, probably sense a fit of on-the-nose exposition coming our way very soon. She exits the station sans friends despite them just being there so that she can be alone when Bobby's there waiting. The two walk and catch up. Jessica, like, I didn't just ghost you, babe. I, ghosted everyone. I just, blamed you and, I shouldn't have. How's your hand, Bobby? Healing, babe. It's healing. How are you? My stepmom deleted the security footage from the riot night. She told me not to say anything, but there's a backup system at my house in my dad's home office. Wow, Jessica, thanks for trusting me with, that exposition, babe. The two circle back to the station so Bobby can talk with Newland, but before going inside, he discovers a horrifying truth. Loser Ryan's not a little piss baby anymore.
I'm a big kid now.
As word spreads through town about these social media posts and the body cut in half, seems Tim Dillon, for the second year in a row, is attempting to flee the danger zone. John Carver has other plans in mind for him though. Tim's a paranoid fit of panic. The coward can't get out of Dodge fast enough, but when he sees the Carver mask sitting kicked back on his couch, it crosses his mind he should have maybe bolted sooner this time. The goof gives it his absolute all to put on a big brave dog front, but it's not fooling anyone, even his cat. A few simple marching steps forward later, John Carver strikes, in true Thanksgiving killer fashion, with an electric carving knife straight to his gut. Tim's forced to accept what a moron he is as he realizes he left his door unlocked, and then he's put out of his misery courtesy of Ninja Pilgrim decapitation. Hold on though, let's reverse a smidge, then freeze. Reason number 3, there's no advice here that can save you. I know the mind's go-to thought here as far as the mistakes made and what you should do is, well, make sure you always keep your door locked. It's funny though, I was curious and looked this film up to see if it was how to beatified. Sure enough it was, so I scrolled specifically to this part thinking, yeah, they'll say to keep your door locked and leave it at that, but in their infinite hunger for hindsight, I was met with being told Tim Dillon, despite this scenario never being something he could have predicted or anticipated prior to it starting up, should have, instead of getting a cat, fostered a slew of highly trained German shepherds in his tiny ass apartment. Anyway, locking your door, investing in German shepherds off the notion you never know, or anything else one can think of as it pertains to right here and now, mean nothing to the bigger picture here. John Carver wants Tim dead. He doesn't need Tim dead right here, right now, in this room. If the door's locked or dogs are barking, whatever, he's more than capable of adapting and striking elsewhere and in another manner long before Dillon hops on an airplane. Take his first victim, for example. John Carver presses Lizzie's wet face against the freezing metal of a walk-in refrigerator door, and just as expected, her skin instantly bonds to the ice-cold surface. His plan is to then end her with an axe, but the determined little bugger accepts the excruciating pain that accompanies peeling her cheek from off that freezing metal in order to not get axed, and scurries off. John Carver then walks out of the diner and into his car, but he doesn't drive away. He trades his original axe-killing plan in for a car ramming death instead. In the unlocked door scenario, our big brave dog is stabbed by the electric carving knife from John Carver emerging from under the dinner table. If his door was locked, Tim would grab his suitcase and passport, open his door to leave, and, well, why don't you take a stab at how that sentence is going to end?
The majority of people on this planet subscribe to religions built around promises that pertain to that which happens after we die. But why? Why subscribe to that when you can follow the gospel of a true leader? A leader whose scripture promises that all followers of the light never have to know or care about what comes after. Because when you fully embrace the word of HTB, you will never die. Join our family today, How to Beat. We make heaven a place on earth. And if you're still not convinced, here's a peek at one of our amazing live services.
The time has come, you guys.
Be sure that the envelope says Kool-Aid. Drink responsibly.
The following morning, Jessica wakes up in her makeup to find herself tagged in a new aesthetic dead person photo. While she's alarmed, of course, she also can't help but wonder what this John Carver user's secret is to not getting banned on Instagram. She realizes it's time to take matters into her own hands. When she's done looking into that, she takes a second to glance over the Black Friday riot security footage too, but pauses for a second to make sure Eli Roth's still filming. Bobby's outside her house texting her, "Hey just friend, I'm here." And Ryan, her not just friend, does a drive-by and sees Bobby's car.
When Bobby comes along, it's like why? Like just leave her alone. Is it bad I've had enough of the sky? Come on.
Were you rushing or were you dragging?
I don't know.
Don't let yourself go, 'cause everybody cries. Everybody hurts sometimes. Sometimes everything is wrong.
Okay, maybe that part didn't happen, but while Ryan was drive-by watching Jessica was hard drive watching Ryan. And Jessica sees Ryan hugging Doug the security guard on the security tape, but Ryan said he didn't know anybody there that night. From the bottom of my heart. So the what? She reacts like she's watching footage of Ryan chopping happy shoppers into pieces. Then she checks again to make sure Roth's still filming. She links up with Bobby outside, but does not want to talk about, God forbid, Ryan being cordial with someone at Right Mart. Of course, Bobby acts shocked and put off by this revelation Ryan might know someone, anything to make him look bad.
I'll take care of Ryan today.
Jesus, someone get this guy a Snickers. But Detective Sheriff Kincaid Newland seems taken aback too. Am I missing something here? Everyone is reacting to this idiotic revelation like it's the most insane Act 2 twist ever. I didn't suspect Ryan's the killer before, and this frustrates me into tripling down on that stance now. When I really think about it though, this overreaction, in a way, makes sense. Reason number 4.
Everybody's a suspect!
This reason is about understanding what a world of you're truly in here.
I am in a world of
Thank God, someone gets it. With mass slasher killers, you can always fully expect 2 things. 1, a motive-driven body count, and 2, a fit of paranoia that intensifies with each new victim. Fear can spawn paranoia, especially as it really starts to balloon, and it gets to the point where every person in action is suspect because you need to figure out who's behind the mask. The body count is rising, and it could be your turn at any moment, and it's really easy to make an argument for why anyone in this circumstance bubble could be the killer. Mitch lost his wife to madness brought on by greed, and nobody was held accountable. Hell, circumstances were manufactured to make accountability basically impossible. Bobby had a superstar major league future lined up within arm's reach that he spent his life working towards achieving. That was taken from madness brought on by greed. That alone might be enough to send one over the edge, but you also have to consider the fact that he did not want to go inside.
Hey, babe, can I just stay here, please?
Please don't make me do this alone.
He vanishes for a year, then right as he returns, all of this starts up. As far as making a case for John Carver's goes, you could keep going and going. Evan's not just a douchebag, the punk ass is obviously arguably a sociopath.
What?
He doesn't just film the riot as it occurs and the people getting injured and losing their lives, he makes a YouTube video mocking them. Really take a second to consider how wild that is. Ryan went from obsessing over Jessica, always trying to simply even just get to know her better, with her having none of it, to sharing in a full-blown relationship. Bobby Boy goes ghost, and now she takes his call? It's a situation where you either don't think much on it at all, romanticize it and call it fate, or, mask your disgust and resentment like your face till the big reveal. Just ask Kirby. She knows what I'm talking about.
4 years of classes together and you notice me now? Stupid bitch! It's too late!
God, and the sheriff, this guy, am I right? He's super quiet, really friendly, always seemingly doing his job with nothing to show for it though. So is he doing his job? Suspect! Sheesh! So what do you do with all these suspects that skip the person of interest line? Well, one of two things really. You either isolate yourself from everyone, making you even easier to pick off all by your lonesome, or you single out one person as your unequivocal baddie and watch in wide-eyed shock while you're taken out by the real one you weren't paying enough attention to. Reason number 5. This psycho killer really knows what he's doing. We already know John Carver is stealthy, creative, and has read his fair share of books on how to go viral. It's what he does next, though, that really shows what this pilgrim's capable of. Remember Not Goodwill Hunting, the rival school jock whose megaphone prank started the actual riot itself? Well, he's got a big game today against unbelievably unlikable Evan and Scuba, whose name I guess needed to be easy to remember, because up until this point, his character sure as hell hasn't been. It's a high-pressure game with a lot of hype behind it from both schools, so Not Goodwill Hunting's cheerleader girlfriend lures him away from the weight room momentarily to relieve some of his tension. They go to that secret gymnasium every high school campus has with a giant trampoline at the center of everything. As he takes his seat to watch, she slips out of something less comfortable. Before she can show him her spinning backflip, John Carver shows him a spinning head flip. Unfortunately, Not Goodwill Hunting wasn't the only one here at Right Mart the night of the riot. Oh my god. I don't care who you are, that's gotta hurt. And that's gotta, kill. She dead. Ugh, yep. But we're not even done with today's pilgrim activities yet, gang. As John Carver anticipates, dead jock plus cheerleader equals cancellation of big game. It's something that unlikable Evan finds very unlikable. As Addison Rae manages to calm him down, they break a major horror film rule.
We'll be right back.
Never, ever, ever, under any circumstances say, I'll be right back. Because you won't be back.
I'm getting another beer. You want one?
Yeah, sure.
I'll be right back!
So while Evan's changing out of his uniform on account of the game getting rained out, blood rain. Guess who's posted up nearby, lurking, waiting, ready. Impressed by someone's center? What's your emergency? Hi, yes, I'd like to report a John Carver. This overachieving maniac has one more thing on today's agenda. John Carver lures Jessica on over courtesy of text messages sent from Addison Rae's phone. He nearly kills her too, but doesn't quite manage to bat 100 here. But to his credit, he absolutely would have if this were real life. Because reason 5.5. In real life, there are no final girls. It's about time we address something crucial to your not survival though. Reason number 6. This police department really doesn't know what they're doing. I get that a masked killer case calls for investigation and that takes time, but the way they handle this one borders on satire. They already know, thanks to the tagged Instagram posts, that the killer is targeting specific people from the Black Friday riot. A jock and a cheerleader turn up murdered on the day of a major game. They're physically on site at the other high school and somehow stay oblivious to 2 students being kidnapped and another nearly decapitated right behind them inside the building. The same students part of the unbelievably unlikable group who came directly to these officers at the station to bring the tagged post to their attention. One of them even pulled security footage and screenshots from her father's CCTV stash. Exactly the records they hoped and asked for. because Sheriff Newland would rather have a teenage girl take that risk than obtain and execute a search warrant for her father's house on suspicion of withholding crucial evidence. A search warrant, mind you, that might uncover evidence connected to his good friend's now dead wife, the same woman he himself was close with too. But honestly, the moment that best showcases this department's absolute lack of ability to protect and serve a goldfish, let alone a specific group of locals being targeted by a killer, is when our unbelievably unlikable friend group drags themselves to the station to talk about being constantly tagged in posts by John Carver. These kids are panicked, on edge, and genuinely scared for their safety. And the officer's response to all that? He asks Scuba if Scuba is his actual name given to him at birth. The way all of this is being handled is basically Fargo without Marge. You're for help from the police, and John Carver's displayed non-stop indications he's done his homework and is prepared, while you pay for your homework and aren't prepared for him whatsoever. The parents in this town seem to be just as neglectful of their duties as the cops are, except maybe Earmuffs here, Yulia's father. Guy's a tank of a man, rolls up out of nowhere in this tank of a vehicle. He scoops her up and barks, "We are headed to Florida." Finally, an adult in this town who seems to have some semblance of a brain. We'll check back in on Gangster and Earmuffs soon, hopefully sipping something cold on a New Smyrna beach and working on their tan. We reconnect with McCarty, or should I say McParty, because his latest enterprise sees him hosting high school ragers. What a cool dude. Jessica and Scuba crash the show, and this is just so weird to me. McParty agrees immediately to loan each of them one of his gangster guns. The dudes, for whatever reason, got so many too. He also offers Jessica a blade for additional protection, and she says no. Oh, I take back what I said about Earmuff's dad, okay? Finally, an adult in this town who seems to have some semblance of a brain. They're still in Plymouth, hours later, packing. You'd think they'd just go, but of course not. And you'd think a gangster like this guy would have an army of security watching their back, but no, of course not. The guy paid a singular local cop to stand in place and pretend he knows what he's doing. I'm starting to think this man's not a gangster at all. Reason number 7, you get what you pay for. Carver, of course, shows up, and this poor dumb cop is instantly toast. Not Gangster Earmuff's dad is too. And while FaceTiming Scuba and Jessica, Earmuffs is attacked as well. Carver stabs into her ears so all hearing goes muffled. Scuba and Jessica race over to Yulia's house, where somehow Muffed Ears is still alive. I'd say thank God Scuba and Jessica are now packing heat, but Scuba totally chokes under the pressure of this moment, and Yulia is killed in John Carr Penter fashion. What a day, huh? You gotta be so tired. Great news though. Jessica's dad, way too late into the game for it to make any sort of difference, officially announces Right Mart will not be open for Black Friday this year. Question, or riddle, or whatever. What do you get when a room full of morons devise a plan to put an end to a strategic mass killer once and for all? A bad idea. Reason number 8. John Carver goes full Joker from The Dark Knight. The unbelievably unlikable cops want to use you guys as bait in the famous Plymouth Thanksgiving parade. You'll stand there, you'll wave, be pilgrims, that whole thing. And then, when the parade's over and the floats return to the warehouse, they'll make it seem like it's empty of any protection whatsoever to lure Johnny Boy over into your little trap. Cute, guys. Real cute. If this video was sponsored by Prize Picks, I'd demand you all bet on this not working out whatsoever. It's triggering for the targets from the start. Because those plastic Carver masks are handed out like candy on Halloween, there's John Carvers everywhere. But what you don't anticipate, because this guy is always 500 steps ahead of you, is he's 1, not in his John Carver mask at this parade, and 2, he's not, or is, but isn't, clowning around today.
Let the bodies hit the...
It's quite the scene. One could even say it parallels the Black Friday riot. And once again, the cops are powerless and do nothing to stop it. You guys try to escape, but not on Carver's watch. You're trank shot and immediately black out. We come to inside of John Carver's secret lair. While most of you are at your designated seats at the dinner table, Jessica's money-hungry stepmom's in the kitchen. Only she ain't cooking, she's getting cooked. Yum. You know, I think it goes without saying, but at this point, don't let anyone, especially your survival instinct self, convince you to try and escape this hell you've been taken to. There's no get up quick, he's not looking. No, go this way, go that way, hide here, hide there. Just stop delaying the inevitable. Trust your gut as it calmly lets you know that you won't make it out. It'll be over before you know it, I promise. More specifically, 30 to 45 minutes once the oven's preheated. Scuba and Jessica are finally reunited with Addison Rae and Evan, and John Carver's finally not too shy to speak, with the help of a voice modulator, of course.
In your hearts, you will always carry the spirit of the Power Rangers.
Dinner is served.
Wow, Jessica's dad, that is so rude. Your host prepares all this food himself, there's top shelf wine on tap, learn to be thankful, man. Speaking of thankful, John Carver is thankful for Evan. Turns out Evan's tribute to the riot victims is what inspired John Carver to take a stab at the whole social media thing, and he's gotten quite familiar with it and skilled at this point. Hell, they're live right now and... Oh, excuse me, John? I'm not seeing any mashed potatoes here. Am I just missing them, or... Oh, there they are. Thanks. While John explains to Jessica's dad it would be rude to not eat his wife turkey after he spent so long preparing it for them, Scuba and Jessica miraculously loosen their restraints. Hold your horses, bub. Reason number 9. Once a choke artist, always a choke artist. What happens here is an all too common movie thing where the action happens so fast, they hope the audience can't really keep up and just goes with it. Unlike me, who leans forward and raises their hand with questions. When they break from their restraints, Scuba goes full In the May Fight Night main event on Carver, and then leads Jessica out of the room with her behind him at all times so he can make sure she's safe. He even sacrifices himself so that she can get a head start out the front door and into the woods. I'm just saying, it's no different than if, after seeing all the dumb crap Evan does every time he's on screen, we randomly cut to a shot of him volunteering at a rescue shelter. Scuba's the kind of guy who likes to talk a big game, but when it comes time to back that talk up, he never fails to choke and fail. Ruh, I'm gonna DM this Carver guy and tell him to suck my Did you though, Scuba? Nah, you sure didn't. Rah, I'm gonna speed over to my girlfriend's house and save her from death. Did you though, Scuba? Nah, no you did not. The guy always chokes, and someone who always chokes is not going to not choke tied to a chair at a dinner table full of dead bodies, some of which are cooked, right after he witnesses his friend's head get turned into mashed potatoes. Movies do a really good job at making self-sacrifice look easy, but ask yourself this, would you have it in you to hurry someone you're, let's be realistic here, kind of friends with towards a way out, then hang back to buy that kind of friend time knowing you'll get sliced? Well, even if you would, Scuba would absolutely not. Now for fun, let's play Jessica does get a head start thanks to Scuba. The girl's still getting chased by an axe-wielding masked psychopath here. Jessica has no clue where she even is. She's just running for dear life, blindly, praying she'll hit some sort of freedom from this masked psycho eventually. She hits a fence and climbs it, just barely managing to escape getting killed here. And then she, of course, keeps running for dear life. It needs to be said that, respectfully, this is where everything sort of falls apart, and there's quite a bit of bullshit we're going to have to unpack and course correct, so buckle up. Or don't. You wouldn't survive either way. Jessica makes it back to town, where Newland is unconscious on the ground in rough shape. In a fit of perfect timing, I suppose, it's while checking on Newland she spots John Carver slipping into the warehouse. For reasons we'll never know, Jessica takes it upon herself to grab Newland's gun and follow Carver inside. And that's when she sees it. Him. Bobby. Jessica is stunned silent. She can't believe this, which I don't quite understand why. Bobby being John Carver would make the absolute most sense here. And quite frankly, I'd rather have a logical John Carver reveal than some random character popping back up out of nowhere just to be less obvious. forcing the movie to then pull magic out of its ass to make it make sense. Oh, hi Newland. Nice of you to randomly pop back up. He takes his gun back and shoos her outside so he can play hero off screen. A shootout can be heard, not seen, from inside. But who killed who here? Did Bobby kill poor Detective Sheriff Kincaid Newland? Or did Newland kill Bobby Carver? Oh my god, thank God. Bobby's been run off. He got away, sure, but at least for now, we're safe and okay. Talk about a good news day. Other cops decide to now show up. Where they were minutes ago, I'll spare myself the migraine and simply not ask. While they collect evidence, Jessica deservedly decompresses. Her brain is totally gonna need time to unmelt here. Newland tells her he'll give her a minute to herself before they dip out. Gosh, what a stand-up guy, no? She exhales and peers down at the plastic Carver mask and Bobby's phone encased in a plastic evidence wrapper. I can't believe I dated him. Ew. Our hero returns and Jessica notices something. Pieces of bramble on his pants. The same bramble on her pants too, which must have come from the woods. Okay, Sherlock Holmes, sit the f down because reason number 10, you would not put the pieces together here. I'd get being paranoid and skeptical if someone were to just verbally tell you Bobby or anyone was the killer. But if you actually see with your own two eyes someone with a believable motive fully suited up and in the Carver mask sneaking into the warehouse looking sinister as hell, you're not stopping to analyze tiny little details that say otherwise. To keep it completely real though, this bramble wouldn't even be on his pants anyway. John Carver wears a fucking jumpsuit, and Newland here is definitely rocking pants. Reason number 11, Newland would not give a detailed confession here. Yes, when it comes to most thrillers, it's become a bit of a staple for the killer reveal to be followed by an epic, motive-driven monologue that spells out why. Why? Yeah, why? But in those cases, said speeches are delivered to the special target, the one whose death means a great deal more than the others. It's important to them the protagonist understands why all of this is happening.
Your slut mother was my father. And she's the reason my mom moved out and abandoned me.
That's not the case in Thanksgiving. In the context of a movie, yes, Jessica is the main character. But in the context of this world and the circumstances surrounding the plot, she isn't at all. If anyone in Thanksgiving is to Newland what Sidney Prescott is to Billy and Stu, it's the Black Friday riot. While good guy Mitch has to unfortunately mourn the loss of his wife after she was killed during that riot, it turns out Newland shares that same grief, but on a deeper level. Cause Kathleen was going to leave Mitch for Newland. And Kathleen was pregnant with Newland's baby. Oh. He's got no reason to confess everything to Jessica. She's not the one here. She's one of many. One of many people he feels a necessity to wipe out. Who gives a shit if Jessica, in her head, figures it out? He would win in a her word versus his contest every single time. And with her suspecting but not knowing, he could continue moving forward with his plan until everybody he wants to kill is dead. Reason number 12, you unfortunately aren't David Blaine. More ridiculous than Newland confessing like this to Jessica here is her revealing the entire time he was confessing, she was live streaming with Bobby's phone. The phone inside of the evidence wrapper she would have to pull out, unlock, if it's even on, take off airplane mode, open Instagram, and start a live video. I'm not gonna ramble on and on with this one. It's pretty obvious this just isn't possible whatsoever. Speaking of Bobby, what's one more thing to cram into this ending that makes no sense at all whatsoever? Newland says he drugged Bobby and put the John Carver costume on him, and then lost him. But Jessica found him and led Newland to the drugged, planted killer. I don't really know where to begin. He doesn't seem drugged. Why would he come to and then go into the warehouse to take the costume off? If you woke up in a Michael Myers costume while everybody in town was looking for Michael Myers, you'd rip that costume off immediately. And again, he seems fine, especially when he comes to Jessica's aid during her squabble with Newland. They jump in his car and get out of there while also managing to blow up Newland. It's all one big, low-budget T2 Judgment Day sequence I don't really get or even care to understand, honestly. Here's what I learned from Thanksgiving. It's a fun movie when it doesn't have to try to be something it isn't. And what it definitely isn't is a story capable of delivering a happy ending for its so-called heroes. By the time it reaches the finale, the whole thing collapses in on itself, scrambling for a tidy conclusion where the antagonist loses, even though everything we've seen from both the killer and his targets makes that outcome impossible unless the movie completely abandons its own logic. Long story short, you would not survive
Thanksgiving.
Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing because there's plenty more to come. Until next time, hasta la vista, baby.